There are few things more important in life while simultaneously being frustrated, frankly, in a low-paying and highly unappreciated job than as someone's executor of their estate. Nonetheless, you should know that it is an honor to have been asked to play this role, and it shows that the person who asks you deeply trusts you and your characteristics of fairness and integrity. As a matter of definition, the executor is responsible to act responsibly on behalf of the deceased, literally taking over their affairs when they leave this earth. And the executor acts in their stead, conducting all financial and legal affairs as fiduciary. But what does being an executor represent, and what do you need to do? If you have asked yourself this question and don't know the answer, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Pat Zumwish, your YouTube CFP, welcoming you to an education session on a subject seldom addressed until the shit hits the fan. This video is to guide you to a better knowledge of what's involved in an already tough emotional topic. I encourage you to share it with family members to help them when it is their time to do it for you. Because of the importance and emotional stress involved, there are 2 companion videos in this series. This video is to provide an explanation of your role and what legal capacity you are given by the courts, along with what responsibilities you have assumed to conduct. The second video lays out the preparatory steps you should take if you know that you are going to be named as someone's executor, or if a female is sometimes called executrix. Then in the final video, we will follow these 2 precursor videos with helpful suggestions on what is the best thing to do in the first 30 days after someone's passing. First, some context. There is no estate to manage, no role for the executor until someone dies. And hereinafter, let's call the person who died the decedent. The executor's role doesn't spring into action until someone passes from this earth. Other forms of authority or power might exist over someone's estate before they die, like a durable power of attorney, DPOA, for healthcare, and a separate DPOA for financial issues. However, upon death, DPOAs per se cease to exist as having any power, and it is then that the executor role springs into action. If you are named in a will or in a trust by the testator as to control their financial affairs, you are an executor. If you are not named and there is no written will, the probate courts may name you as the personal representative or the administrator, but the function of the role is exactly the same. Note, if the estate has a trust, the person who created the trust is called the grantor or the settlor, and if you are handling the affairs of the estate, you are formally known as the trustee. Nonetheless, the roles are quite similar, and you'll find the following list helpful. Legal roles and responsibilities include the minimum 11 items below. First and foremost, you need to secure the most recent will or trust. Secondly, realize and accept the fiduciary role you are in, and that from the beginning, you can't do things that are not in the best interest of the estate. You might be a beneficiary of the estate yourself, or you might not be named as a beneficiary at all. But busy or not, you can't refuse to take care of business of the deceased or of the other beneficiaries. You can't sell a home to your sister for 20% less than its fair market value, etc., etc. One of your first legal responsibilities will be to file the will with the probate courts and to prove the validity of the will, or alternatively, to establish the validity of the trust if one exists, because until now, those decedent documents were private. Do note that all states are different and have deadlines of when to file, 10 to 30 days, as well as thresholds of asset value to know whether you need to establish a probate case. You have to gather all the appropriate documents applicable to the decedent. Think of yourself as needing to do an inventory of literally everything. Sooner or later, you will need to assess or assign a value to the properties of the estate. You need to alert or notify interested parties as part of your role, which certainly includes loved ones who may or may not be beneficiaries to the level they expect, but also creditors, landlords, employers, life insurance companies, as well as government agencies such as the DMV, Social Security Administration, and the Postal Service. It is your duty to secure the related property physically, such as locking the house, the cars, and assuring jewelry is taken care of and recorded. Depending on the complexity of the estate, you will need to determine if you need other expertise, such as estate attorneys, valuation experts, or tax preparers, and if they are needed, contract them for the work you need them to do. You must oversee and manage the assets during the estate until distribution occurs. That includes tangible property such as homes and financial assets such as investments, etc. The executor must pay necessary bills, taxes, and expenses from the estate until probate is closed and the estate is settled. In this process, it is most common and helpful to open up a checking account for the estate to pay the bills from, collect money into, and all that keeps these items separate from your own affairs as well. As the executor, you will be responsible for making the final, as well as any intermediate, distributions to beneficiaries and heirs. Keep in mind, life insurance proceeds might be needed to support family members while probate is being settled. Finally, the filing of tax returns must be done. On average, there are 2 of them, the final 1040 tax return for the individual and the estate tax return, Form 706. Don't forget that the estate has a separate ID number than the Social Security number or tax ID of the trust. This list is not comprehensive, but hopefully you will find it to be a good starting point in understanding the legal, financial, fiduciary, and practical responsibility of being an executor. That's it for this session. As always, thank you for letting me help you do wise things with your money.